Last night, let's take you to the Suns and the Clippers, Game 5. Devin Booker and the Suns, third quarter, 4:20 remaining. Suns up by 2. Booker, 4-3, puts the Suns up by 5. Keep an eye on Booker in this one. He's going to have a big game. Less than a minute later, Booker, for 3. He's feeling it. A few possessions later, look at this one. This is a mid-range jumper, kind of sliding sideways to his left. No problem. And then a little higher percentage shot here for Booker. That he had 25 points in the third quarter, and after that, the Suns were up by 17.
They scored 50 in the third quarter. 50 points.
That's a lot. Fourth quarter, Clippers down 6. Batum with the straight-on 3. Steve Ballmer fired up, elbowing his seatmate there, Alan Hahn. I don't think she appreciated that. Just over a minute left. You got Norman Powell turning it over. Chris Paul the other way finds Kevin Durant. He lays it in. 56 seconds left now. Clippers down by 4. Russell Westbrook pass. He's going to turn it over. Ball goes off of Terrence Mann's hands. Eases pain. Suns win 136-130. Booker at 47. Suns win the series 4-1 and advance to face the winner of Nuggets Timberwolves. And here's Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets looking to close out Minnesota in Game 5. Early in the third, Nuggets up by 1. Jamal Murray drives and spins, gets his layup to fall. Look at this again. I don't know how many steps that was, but the ball did go in, and it did count, and the game was tied at 77 after 3. Under 2 minutes left in the fourth, T-Wolves down by 4. Anthony Edwards drives, gets a tough lefty layup to fall. Tied the game at 102. T-Wolves not going quietly. 58 seconds left, tied at 104. Jokic drives through Rudy Gobert and misses it, but he gets his own rebound and tips it in. That puts Denver up by 2. Now 31 seconds left, same score.
And one!
And 1 for Jokic. Nuggets would be up by 5 after the free throw. 2.2 seconds left. Last chance for the T-Wolves down 3. Edwards gets a good look. It does not go. Edwards can't believe he missed. Can't believe his season is over. Nuggets win the series 4-1. Just a calm 28, 17, and 12 for Jokic. You know, solid line overall. Pretty good. This season, the Suns and the Nuggets split their 4 meetings with the home team winning each one. Phoenix, in spite of being the road team in this series, is currently the slight favorite to win it at Caesars Sportsbook. And if that happened, that would make Denver just the 5th top seed to be an underdog in the conference semifinals over the last, 35 years. I've been saying 25 years all morning. This is over the last 35 years, so even rarer than that. So, look, the Suns have advanced. Like, we've been wondering about the Suns, right? Like, are they going to be good? They haven't played together that much. Right? They are in the second round. What did you see from them that teaches you about what they can do going forward?
Well, first, Devin Booker's on another planet. I mean, he's just I've seen him play great, obviously, throughout his career. He's put up 70 in a game at one point. This guy's been putting up numbers since the day he got in the league. I've never seen him like this. One, he just looks hungry. I mean, he is a guy right now that his eyes are huge every time he gets on the offensive end of the floor. And the reason it's becoming so easy for him is because he's got an opportunity now to catch the basketball with a lot more comfort zone and a lot more freedom, and he gets into a rhythm quicker. What you saw at the Suns in the third quarter is kind of like their potential. Now, 50 points is obviously the extreme of that, but that is what they envisioned when they got Durant. I got a real quick number for you because Hemo gave me this number. I couldn't believe it. There's been 53 instances in the history of the NBA playoffs where a guy averaged 40 in a 40-game span. It's happened 53 times. No one's ever done it while shooting 62%, like Devin Booker just did. So it's never happened in the history of playoffs. That's the level he is at right now, and that's why the Phoenix Suns, which I thought by the end of the first round, because we needed to see them, people were going to start buying into what this team is going to represent the West.
Yeah, 4-game span. The 40 thing got caught up. But, I mean, look, and you'll notice how the shooter, Jay, I know you know this as well. I love what he said after the game. He said that I'm playing with a guy that causes so much gravity, meaning everything is drawn towards Kevin Durant, and how much this opens up the game for him to do a lot of one-on-one, to attack, to stay in attack mode. Also that KD continues to empower him with everything he's talking about. Loves watching him play. Said, I don't normally scream when somebody does something like this, but I let out a scream the way he was playing that third quarter. Like, how big of a deal just is that? And as we watch the Suns, and we're still learning about them because they haven't played a ton together, those two guys. But, I mean, again, you guys know this as players. Having a guy like Kevin Durant out there, drawing all that attention, what it can do for a guy like Devin Booker, we're seeing already.
Well, Katie, go ahead.
You like him to beat Denver?
I'm still taking Denver in the series. I do believe that last night was a spiritual thing for Devin Booker. That's what KD called it. And the biggest thing for me to pay attention to in this next round series starting on Saturday is people have talked about the Joker defensively a ton. He will be targeted in pick and rolls. That is what Phoenix is really good at. CP3 can get to his spots. You see Devin Booker snake a lot of ball screens. The same with KD. You will see that action, and how Denver decides to defend that with their depth ultimately will determine whether they can win the game or not.
Who you like?
I like Phoenix. I think Phoenix offensively is going to present a big challenge for Denver. And I think to Alan's point, what Devin Booker is seeing for the first time is when the ball's on the opposite side of the floor, it's in the hands of a guy that everything he does, there are at least 2 defenders involved in the action, a third guy shading it. So when it finally comes across the horn to your hands on the opposite side, you've got space on the first closeout defender. The next guy coming is rotating over from the other side of the floor because he was worried about Kevin Durant. Think about the guys he played with on a team that went to the finals. You had guys like Jay Crowder and Cam Johnson, right? Mikal Bridges. They weren't doing that on that side of the floor, and that's why I think Phoenix right now offensively represents too big of a challenge. Now, depth is going to be an issue. But what they can do with their starting 5 is special.
And that's got to be some feeling. He's looking over there at that defense saying, I'm going to get 45 again tonight.
Yeah.
Who do you like?
45.
He says Denver. He says Phoenix. Who you got?
Phoenix. I think I have Phoenix going to the NBA Finals. And just because, again, as we're saying, this is the embryonic stage of Booker and Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's played with great players before. Devin Booker's never played with a player like that and what it's doing for his game. I've always felt Devin Booker was one of the most underrated, unheralded scorers in the game. We saw him go to the finals with that team. Can you imagine what he can do? Well, we're starting to see it, what he can do with a guy like Kevin Durant on the floor. And in the playoffs, you can talk about their depth all you want. The deeper you go in the playoffs, the more minutes these guys are getting. And the more times these guys are on the floor, they have the best players on the court.
Well, we're going to have plenty more time to herald Devin Booker and his performance because they advanced. But I want to pour one out a little bit for the Clippers, who had a little bit of an anticlimactic end to their season. Kawhi Leonard going out with the injury. I feel like we've seen this movie before. I mean, going forward with the Clippers, do you feel like with Kawhi that they're set up to do anything one of these years?
One of these years that you keep waiting for is that 1 year you hit. Toronto got it.
Yes.
Toronto had him one and done, but that one was a spectacular one. And that's what you're waiting for with Kawhi is that 1 year where it hits. They keep waiting in L.A.
I said, what's his trade value right now? I mean, and that's same for PG, right? They've both been injured. So both these guys have 1 year left on their deals. Then on top of that, they have an option year, their option. So I think at max you have 2 more years with these individual players. The question is, will Russell Westbrook decide to take less money? Because I think they can only afford to pay him $6 million, the mid-level exemption. So I think Russ is at the stage of his career. If Russ is able to stay there, and they are able to load manage whatever way Ty Lue needs to go about it, you would think, what were you going to blow it up? You're going to blow it up and get what in exchange?
They got a new arena coming. They can't blow it up.
It's right. It's going to 2024.
But it's amazing how the Clippers are that team. They are the most unreliable team possible because you don't know what you're getting out of them and what we're going to talk about with a team like this. Imagine being a fan of a team where you have a regular season of 82 games,
but it's
and
just
you're
because
like,
of injuries.
Not going to see my star most of the season, hoping that he's healthy in the postseason.
Would you take it if you won a championship? Toronto took it to win a championship.
That's what I'm saying.
If they're winning a championship, is it worth it? Yeah.
I
don't think they have a choice. I mean, it's literally you sit there like this,
stuck
season after season, as long as you have it. And it gets to the point where, I hate to say this because I love watching Kawhi so much. You get to the point where you don't give him the benefit of the doubt anymore that you're ever going to see it. Right. I think we're past that point. We expect him now to miss large chunks of time, which is going to hinder their regular season. And then you say, okay, we'll take that, man. We'll be a 7 seed. Can you give us 2 months of playing every other night so that we have a chance? And
yes.
You saw that.
Give him 2 weeks.
Ron Lue, it was like the first time he got asked about after his first question was something about that. He immediately just like, what do you want to do?
Yep.
And he listed like 3 teams. Take those 2 guys off the team. Take those 2 guys. Take Stephen Clay off the Warriors. What does that look like? What do you want me to do?
Look at this.
Feel it.
Since 2019, 347 Clippers games, only 142 of those with both those guys on the court. That counts the playoffs.
See, the problem
I think that
Kawhi,
picture was taken last night because they're holding their jerseys.
The problem with Kawhi is, look, you can't fault a player for when they get injured.
Yeah,
but how they communicate the injury is the issue, right? And that's followed him even in Toronto when he played 24 games and they won.
Yeah.
Brett VanVleet, who was one of the leaders on that team, said, we didn't know until the day of whether Kawhi was going to play or not. It accumulated to them winning a championship. That's the thing. The communication aspect makes you look at Kawhi a little bit differently.
Tough way to go for sure. We'll see what happens going forward with the Clippers. Jay's got to go back to radio. We have a lot more NBA coming later in the show.
Keep it in
Back. We're going back to the NFL, make some bold predictions for the Cowboys and the Packers ahead of draft day. Plus, Bart Scott sounds off on a top 10 quarterback.